Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. Amma ba'd. So, one person wrote a question. And he said that he mentioned one of his past sins he was involved in, and he corresponded with Hakim Sahib rahmatullahi alayhi, and he was able to manage to overcome that sin. Yes. Afterwards, some time went by, maybe weeks, months, I don't know. And he said, I'm getting waswasa regarding this thought again. This sin that I've solved, that I've got over it, I'm not involved in it again, but I'm getting waswasa regarding this. So like relapse kind of, I'm worried about relapse. Getting back to the sin again. So it's a very, very important point here. He says here, in Urdu, जो एक बार गुनाह कर लेता है, वो चाहे कुतुब अल-अक़ताब भी हो जाए, लेकिन वसवसा गुनाह से नजात नहीं पा सकता. गुनाह का वसवसा आएगा, बस उम्र भर मुजाहदा करना पड़ेगा. Meaning, if you've done a sin once, I think I explained this before as well. If you've done a sin once, then he's just saying simply here, even if you become the greatest sheikh, you become like a great wali, you will still get the source of this sin. So you'll have to continue doing mujahada and striving for the rest of your life. And psychologically, if you look at it, simply is what you studied in those habit loops. What happens? Habit in it. When you create a habit, what happens? The links between the neurons get stronger and stronger. Yes. So and it's a memory. So when you do something, it's in your mind. So that thought coming to you again is going to be natural. Yes. For example, I think I mentioned before, is that if you never drank alcohol, you don't also have alcohol, because that's not in your memory. It's not in your thoughts. But let's say, for example, you should lie. Lying is not necessarily something with lazza, but let's say, for example, you should lie. Or let's say, for example, you used to, let's say, for example, people who are on diet, people who have a habit of overeating, and have a habit of lots of sweets, order of coffee. You feel like coffee again. You feel like having sweets again. You feel like takeaway again, fried food again. If you've never had, I don't know, like roasted so and so, you don't feel like having it again. So similarly, the sin is in your mind. So you have to remember that if you've done a sin, you do tawbah of it, you left it, Allah give you tawfiq, that's fine, alhamdulillah. If you get the waswas of that sin again, don't panic. It's natural. He's saying that even if it comes, doesn't matter what happens, because it's in your mind. One is spiritually, shaitan knows that's a weak point, so he'll try to attack that weak point. So if you're army, he knows that I got him from that one weak border once. Even if you do fortify that border, he still think that, well, this is something I've been successful before. Maybe I can get him to on that border again. Yes? You understand? There's also another point as well, is even sometimes what happens is, Mawlana Sharif Thanullah calls it mujahada thaniya. That when you hear about something, or when you read about something, a sin or a good deed, you want to leave that sin, or you want to do that good deed. Yes, it's natural. So you have that, we call it in our language, adrenaline rush. And that adrenaline rush can last for 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, a long time. Yes? And what happens is that after a while, that adrenaline rush or that initial jazba that you had, that initial zeal and passion, it comes back to equilibrium. Do you understand? When it comes back now to normal, now you're not going to feel that same zawq and enthusiasm for the good deed, and you're not going to find that same strength to resist that. It doesn't mean you become a bad person. It just means that you're back to your average. Now you got to just work hard. And I'll give you an example in football. You might have read one of those books. When you get a new coach, what happens? There's a very slight improvement in result, very slight improvement. Why? Because there's a push, there's a 1%, 2% extra push. You feel like there's a bit motivation. And after that, you just drop back down because it's back to your average. That's how the team is. The coach has like a small effect, but meaning you drop onto the average and then you go back to the average again. So initially you might have a bit of a push and then it goes back to normal again. Sometimes you even go back worse. So similarly, when you have that initial push, that initial enthusiasm, that initial burst, if you feel a drop afterwards, it's not need to panic. It's going to happen. So the first mujahada is to start the action. So listen to music, you do mujahada, stop listening to music. You didn't wake up for tahajjud, you start waking up tahajjud. So you do mujahada to leave the sin or to do a good deed. And it lasts for some time. And after a while, you're going to have a bit of a drop. And it's natural. That doesn't mean that Allah's unhappy with you. It doesn't mean that there's some kind of, shaitan's overpowered. It means that you just come back to its average. Now, when that adrenaline boost has gone away, now you have to try to make that your habit. And that second mujahada, if you get over the second hurdle, then inshallah that will be now, that's become your habit now. That's why a lot of the people say that they give a rough estimation. If you're able to do a habit for 40 days, is it a habit book as well, 40 days? Or I don't know what number they give. Huh? So if you get a habit for a certain amount of time, then it's like you've overcome a lot of hurdles, the initial adrenaline rush, the initial enthusiasm, and now you got over. So a certain amount of time, it's roughly arbitrary, 40 is a good target. So 40 days you get over that, then you come over a lot of hurdles and it becomes your habit more or less later on. So 2 points here is one. So if you commit the sin in the past, it's natural to have that waswasa coming through again, because shaitan knows that's a weak point, he's trying to attack you. Psychologically it's in your mind that sin, so you can the thought will come again. And number two is when you do want to do a good deed or you want to stay away from a bad deed, initially you feel a bit of a boost, adrenaline. And when that adrenaline goes away, it's not something to panic about. Now you realize, I've come back now to my average, my normal self. Now I need to get a second effort. You get over that second hurdle, then inshallah, it won't be easy the rest of your life, but it'll be easier going along. So don't give up on that initial, when you go that emotional down. Right? Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.